Okay, should be live. Let's see if the stream actually wants to pop up. Awesome, awesome. Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to the last time I hopefully will have to say SMT5 is not out yet. So, we're in a really weird middle ground, where we did the super long live stream yesterday for 11 hours, and game was basically almost out in Asia by the time we ended it, but now we're in this middle ground where in the West we're going to be like the last people to kind of get it digitally, and that's going to unlock at 9... No, sorry, I have to remember to correct myself now because I got moved again. It is unlocking midnight West Coast time. I'm recording this 9:30 p.m. Midwest time. So, that's a really long time. I'm not going to be talking that long, but I also don't have a review ready, and I wanted to kind of do something to sort of help everyone with the wait. So if you're watching this live and you have questions about SMT5, you might be playing it, you have a question, you might be not sure when you're going to get it, but you have a couple questions maybe I've never covered, a review you saw I didn't cover. I wanted to just kind of put that out there and just make this basically like probably like a half an hour little like preview stream of just being like, hey, the game's almost out. I'm like 55 hours into this thing. I can answer pretty much every question that I should be talking about right now. And so bring on the hard questions. I've got a whole bunch from Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, so we can go through there. But while people are submitting stuff, I just want to say thanks to the chat. We already have like 20 people here, so I'm glad other people are waiting. I also, another thing was like, I didn't want to like rush out a review to like drop at like 2 in the morning my time. Because if you can't tell, I feel kind of like yucky in my voice. But not as bad as I actually thought it would. I thankfully did a good job resting my voice today. And what was the other thing? The other thing with it was basically, I want to put something out, but like I'm not in a rush to do it when everyone's going to be playing the game. I want to stew on my thoughts longer for this in terms of really getting critiqued with it. And it's like one of those things of like, if you guys are going to check out my review on launch day, you're probably just as likely to check it out a week or so. I don't think it's going to take a week after launch, but just saying in general, good to wait, get all my eggs in a basket. So don't worry, you are not just going to be looking at a still image this time. Well, you will be looking at still images, but I actually have footage directly from my Switch that I'm going to be showing here. Footage. Direct capture screenshots from my Switch, so you'll be able to know. Let's look at live chat real quick so I'm not too bad. DHI Hollow is playing, good to hear. Thoughts on physical and magic skills by John. So I get asked about this a lot in terms of skills, and someone else brings it up, but I'll cover it in the question, because I know I want to just kind of like get a quick intro out of the way besides this little pre-ramble. Broken Zelda, I'm glad you got the game. Green Flame says, thank you for Oh, sorry, does not say thank you. I'm saying thank you. Green Flame says, waiting for a review will be better anyways. Having most time to make sure is good is always good. Yeah, it's like, I get it being in a hurry, but also, along with jobs, other stuff, streaming for 11 hours yesterday, not doing a great job with that. Neopooch, without spoiling, is there a clear indication of alignment stuff? Yes and no, but I'll get into that. Just because it is one of those things here. Benjamin Tapia, so like I said at the beginning of the show, it's out in Europe, it's out in Australia, it's out in Japan. If you're in America, you have to wait eShop-wise. You cannot play it until West Coast is midnight. So if you're like 2 in the morning for Midwest, 3 a.m. for East Coast, stuff like that. Nick Roth, I also have that question, so don't worry. So I'm just going to kind of jump into this really quick, and then we can get to all your questions and hopefully get to them as best as possible. So as I'm getting started, let's actually give you guys something to look at here. So we've got my delectable slideshow here. And yeah, so actually I think hilariously, I think the slideshow is actually too big. Oh, it is! Interesting. Hello, slideshow. I was like, boy, you're not showing me the whole image. All right, only the most professional of streams here, everybody. There we go. And now you can see everything. Perfect. So, yes, Shin Megami Tensei 5, after 55 hours, it continuously surprises me and gets me to have a lot of reactions I would not have necessarily thought. Most of them being like, I just keep getting surprised that I'm like, wow, this is really good. Wow, this is really good. Wow, this is really good. In a way that I don't think I've really had with other games, at least this year. I'm interested to kind of play a lot of other big games for this, but this game is really, really going to be hard pressed to not be in like the top accolades of a lot of people's game of the year if you're a fan of this game, obviously. Like what this game seeks out to do, it does a really, really good job of, and I was glad that like my initial thoughts after playing like 10 hours was just the fact that it's like, okay, can it keep up this momentum? Is the new kind of path this game is going for, is it going to work out in the end? And how is this going to feel after however many hours? So I'm really, really glad to say that, like, for me at least, obviously this is always subjective, but it's one of those things that, like, it just kind of nailed everything I kind of wanted from it, from a storytelling aspect, from a gameplay aspect, especially from a music aspect. God, I wish I could be playing this game's soundtrack for you all, but I do count soundtrack spoilers as spoilers, so you're all going to have to listen to Apocalypse. But yeah, like 5 has just been so interesting of like, it challenged me in the ways I didn't even know I wanted to be challenged. I feel like I haven't had a challenge like this from an RPG in a while, of like, nailed that balance of every time it killed me and I was yelling at my TV, I knew I did something wrong, or I knew what I should have been doing better, and at the same time, this game just does such an interesting job of motivating you. Like the deaths, even though there's not like there's a retry button, like there's a, when you get game over, you're watching that screen, you can obviously skip the game over cutscene, but like it sends you right back to that title screen, the one you're looking at right now. You're gonna see this title screen a whole heck of a lot if you die in this game, and it's one of those things of just like, I never felt like, oh god, give up. Like, I could never imagine ending the night after just absolutely getting my ass handed to me unless I had to. And it was one of those things of like, basically picking yourself up your bootstraps, bare knuckling down on this fight, and just crushing it is such a satisfying feeling. Like, it's definitely something I'm not going to forget anytime soon. And this game just nails that feeling so, so, so hard. And I'm really excited to kind of get into it a lot more with everybody of like, what the heck makes this game so special for me is going to be so different for you and other people. And like, I don't know. There are some interesting, like, I wouldn't even say complaints, but I think there are interesting criticisms I do want to see people talk about more. Like I mentioned, there are not a lot of dungeons in this game in a way that you would expect. They switch out stuff like puzzles for platforming, and I'm interested to see how people are going to feel about that. There's not really anything like the Magatama or equipment. It's pretty much like you're changing everyone's skills. Skills are the equipment in this game. There's items and skills and fusions, and that's about it. So it never really felt like it was a bad change, though. All the changes at least made sense or were interesting enough to kind of make me be like, okay, let's see where this goes. Let's see what's happening, and stuff like that. JT Hayes, bringing up a good point. What are the technical issues with the game? So for me, after all of my time pre and post patch, the game has been really, really like, it is a workhorse. And what's really funny is actually I saw a video on Twitter, or maybe I saw like, no, I think it was like recommended on like YouTube today for me, on like Faz's channel, of like showing, I think it was an OLED switch, and it sounded like an engine was going off. To be fair, this was the Japanese version of the game. I have played this game in handheld mode and on docked multiple hours, and it is right next to me at all time, but I've never heard a peep from this, so I don't know if that's like, obviously every system's going to be different. I'm using a version 2 Switch. It's the Red Mario 3D World release timing one, like that, but for me, I have had no issues of the game, like, and like I've had that for stuff like Xenoblade obviously will do that. I actually had it a little bit with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I explicitly had that with Age of Calamity. Age of Calamity in handheld mode. You could cool yourself off on a launch switch playing that for sure. But no, for my Red Mario 3D World version 2 Switch, no sounds at all while playing this thing. This thing has made my Switch completely quiet. So I wouldn't see stuff like that making you worry. I would say when you're hearing people talk about frame dips, definitely don't worry like that. This game performs really, really well for me. Obviously it dips, but I would never complain about it, because also and this is, by the way, coming from a guy who's complaining that Nocturne HD doesn't run at 60 FPS because that's a re-release of a PS2 game. This is new. You can see why this game might chug or might have some pop in, but when it's chugging, it's very rarely in the action scenes of you running around the world. It uses a lot of technical wizardry behind the scenes of just kind of being hey, let's make this hey, let's switch out these models. Let's make this things disappear when you're not looking at it. Yeah, people saying that the patch improved the frame rate. I have not seen it be any better, but I also was one of those people not saying that frame rate was a problem. So, it obviously the game's been in development forever, and they've had almost half a year to basically patch this thing and polish it up. So I don't know how many more patches we're going to be getting, but it's nice that there was at least a day one patch. If it does have, I have noticed it did do some miscellaneous bug fixes and stuff for it. But like I've said before, if you're picking up this game, you don't have internet, you just pop that cart in if you're getting it physically. That 1.0 version of the game is extremely, extremely playable. This is not a rough, you're not going to be seeing oh my gosh, look how rough this game is, unless it's someone really nitpicking. For the overall experience, there's never a point of it being noticeably bad or noticeably hindering to the experience. How far would I say the FPS drops have been and how often? So when you're in the gameplay of running around the world and in battles, it's always around 30. It never really, gets too bad. The lowest I've seen it is maybe, in the 20s, and that's for, a moment. It's it might be loading something, and it's going and it's doing a thing. But in terms of that, it's unlocked, actually. And when you're in menus and when you're, in the world of shadows, there are moments where, yep, that's 60. It was fast, but it was at 60. So, it's uncapped, but at the very least, it's one of those things that's, it's a solid 30, especially for an RPG where you're running around a lot. It never left me being oh, geez. It's taking away from the experience because of the performance. No, the performance is great. I think it looks great. I think it plays great. I think for what they are trying to push on this thing, that they did everything they could in their power. I've seen people compare Dragon Quest XI with the quality so far. I would actually say I think this plays and performs better and looks better in almost every way than Dragon Quest XI on Switch. And I think Dragon Quest XI is a great port job, but this is definitely doing a whole lot more being an original game, not just a port. Yoshi Bosch says, Spencer, as an owner of the Japanese copy, just playing the game for the gameplay, how difficult will the story be without knowing the language? Honestly, not that hard. There's a lot of just, basic text that you would understand right off the bat. You're obviously going to be missing all the nuances of the story and the side quests. The side quest might be a little hard for you to kind of dictate, but the game is very always clear of even though the world is large, and again, it's not open world large, it's just expanded large, it's one of those things where you always know where to go or what to do. It's very hard to be lost even without reading, here's what you do in the quest menu, and things like that. Let's see, Josh was saying, I feel like Dragon Quest was smoother, but it was because the menus didn't have SMT lag. Yeah, the menus will have, a moment to, boot up for it, but it's also one of those things of, it's not that extra 1 second it takes from pressing the menu to being in the menu might feel slow at starters, but it never actually was one of those things that, weared me down, which was really, really nice. And that's from coming from someone who actually played, Japanese version of Nocturne enough to that was a noticeably annoying amount of time on Switch PS4. So I'm going to get some more questions, but I kind of want to go through my screenshots here with all of you guys. So again, this is no spoilers or anything like that, but I took a bunch of screenshots. This is probably screenshots from maybe the first 20 hours of the game. I just kind of want to explain a little bit for them, show a little bit off of the game. There's no spoilers, nothing you've not seen in trailers for this. This is just direct captured footage from actually the day one edition of it. So hopefully it looks okay. Yes, JT, the game is 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if it's midnight West Coast, 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Midwest, I don't even know my own time zone, 3 p.m. for East Coast people. Please don't give me spoilers past 2 early bosses. No, there'll be. I don't even think there's any. No, okay. There's like you'll see a boss, but you've also seen it in a bajillion trailers, and it's like not even a story boss. It's a thing. It's just that's the thing you've seen. Like I think in the first and second trailer of the game. So the game literally starts off really, really well in terms of its pacing. It starts off like the trailer of you're walking out of the train station, and it just immediately just kind of introduces you to the world. And what's so funny is, like, I was like, okay, obviously you've got to start, you've got to go to school, you've got to do your stuff and whatnot like that, so... Broken Zealot, I'm not going to be streaming super long. I did 11 hours yesterday. I've already vamped for 15 hours, so I'm probably going to break my promise to my wife of keeping this to be like a 30-minute live stream. But I want to go through all of your questions and go through some of these screenshots in lieu of having a traditional review and kind of helping you guys just wait for the digital one if you are waiting for that. So, physical people... Actually, you know what? I will poll a chat, because I'm actually curious for all of you guys watching this right now. Are you waiting... for SMT5, digital, physical, and then I'll put a third option for you cool kids out there. Already have it. Who's watching this who already has it? That's what I've got to know. We've already got a couple I've seen. How long is the game? So Natalie Roth, how long is the game? It's about... It's gonna change for each person, but I would say for a first playthrough, if you're really like going through everything, under 50 hours, I would question if you rushed this game or not. Obviously, people can play on their own sins. I would say definitely play as many side quests as possible. Do all of them if you want. So do not skip on any of this game. Also, don't rush on this game. Like, obviously, if you want to rush, you can. But it is one of those things of, like, this. It's been so long, guys. Just savor it. Savor this meal like a tasty steak. So, we're introduced to our protagonist in his outfit. We know very little about what's going on in the beginning of the story. And I had to take this screenshot because I thought this was so funny. So, he has a smartphone. Looks like the world's most basic Samsung Galaxy. But what I love is he has an iPad. And this iPad has one purpose in the whole story, and you keep it in your item for all time. No one's ever going to talk about this because it's a dumb little aside, but I thought this was so funny. The iPad's existence is literally for you to log into it to say your name, so you're registered at the school, and that's its entire purpose. You never use your phone. You never use your iPad for anything. You have a cell phone. You have an iPad, but for various reasons you'll find out later, just never use either. You never make phone calls. You never have to text. There's a lore reason for it. It's just so funny to me that they're like, well, clearly it's like in modern day, so he would have a smartphone, and a tablet at a school's not crazy. I just thought it was just so funny of like to have this. What's the optimal stat distribution? I'll Blaziken, I will definitely talk about, like, obviously optimal is going to be your own thing. I will say this as a bit of a thing. I don't know how much fun you would have if you split your stats evenly. Because there have been moments where I'm like, woof, man, like, I'm leaning magic for my first playthrough, and it was one of those things of, like, if I had, like, leaned back and, like, tried to get a little bit more even strength and magic, I wonder how much, like, harder my life would have been. So here we go. We see canon name Spencer Presley-kun with their iPad, and then this is about as extensive as it gets there. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is, even though the NPCs in the world, I just realized the no smartphone sign. So one of the interesting things about the world building in this, and I'd mentioned before in the live stream, is that even though all the protagonists, basically anyone who's not a main character in the story is just a nameless, faceless student or occupant in the world, it's really interesting how much kind of character they have just through the little bits of talking you have with them, and almost none of them are voiced, which is really, really interesting. Also, yes, the no eyes thing, I think is actually, like, more cool than just, like, doing the Tokyo Mirage Sessions thing, or Persona, where it's, like, there's no facial features, really. Like, something about, like, the way that, like, this looks cooler to me, almost in, like, they're a doll kind of way, but it's definitely a look. Speaking of eyes, though, oh my gosh, all the character introductions, everybody is so handsome in this game. Yuzuru is someone who basically like one of the first people you meet early on. Like you're introduced to the main cast very, very quickly. And what's funny about it is like you're introduced to everybody, and like right now this is maybe like 5 minutes into the game of like you go to class, you say your name, you're outside. Like again, the game has a very, very fast pacing in a very good way. Here's an example of one of the interesting things, which was the conversation dialogues. These don't happen a lot, but this is probably the first one of like, oh, these are two kind of different things. And I'm kind of sad to say that for a large amount of this game, these all do not matter. These are just kind of you thinking you have a choice. This is obviously really canon. This is very common in a lot of Atlas games of, let's show you the illusion of choice. Because, like, to have the story diverge immediately that far would be a little bit hard, or maybe more expensive, or a lot more time-consuming. It just does kind of stink, though, that we don't have more situations of... Sorry, I'm checking my DMs to make sure I didn't have anything dumb happening. So, I get it. It is a complaint if you wish there was more choice, but it is also one of those things of like, hey, yeah, it's like, I would love it to have more choice, but like, it just is one of those things of, it's nice flavor text, but it definitely adds up in the back of your head of like, I wish these had more prominence throughout the story as opposed to waiting till the end. Also, hi Yuri. Just want to give a shout out to a classic SMTN friend, Yuri TCC over here, who's back from the dead and is actually making videos. So if Yuri is out there listening, hello. I've not forgotten you, and I'm glad you're still alive and doing videos. So here's our first shot. In between leaving school and getting to the world of Dot, it's literally like maybe 15 minutes, and that's if you're going slow. So one of the craziest things about this game is, again, kind of going back to how like much desert it is, but I still think it is just insanely pure. Like, it's just insanely pretty to me. Like, I think this is just such a gorgeous looking game. And when you start off, it's really just immediate to you, like, what a, like you're in a like form of like Tokyo, kind of, but like you would never really know unless like you looked at the names and stuff like that. And it's just been like the way that this kind of shows a post-apocalyptic Tokyo compared to something like a Nocturne and even other games that do like post-apocalyptic settings. I think it has such an interesting, unique flavor to it that is so funny because like a desert throughout most of this game is kind of what you're in, but it never feels like a boring brown desert. It does a really, really great job. So here we go. We've got the shot. We've got the definitely not Shinji or Demi Fiend sitting down looking depressed, and the very, I guess, I mean, I was going to say famous, but like the much discussed underpass bridge. That is actually like an actual underpass in Japan, but one of the funny things is I would not have thought why this came into the story as it did, but it is an interesting little thing in the beginning. Kind of going back, we have Ichiro Dazai. I love this guy, dude. I've got to get his voice actor. I'm forgetting his name on the show. He gets such great character development without getting into any spoilers. Like Ichiro, for me, I really, really grabbed onto because he is actually more kind of thrusted into the situation of everything going on with the angels and demons than you would have ever really expected. Because he basically is just going into it like, oh, hey, dude, like, let's go check out this weird rumor. Next thing you know, he's in the netherworld. And it's so funny because he gets such an interesting perspective of, like, there's nothing initially special about him. He's not like the chosen one. He's not like been aware of demons and angels for all of his life. He's as fresh to this as you are, but he's not a Nahabino. He is just a human. And he brings a really interesting perspective in terms of not only how he reacts to situations, how others react to him in other situations, and without actually like picking on him. Like he could have easily been like I'm the machismo guy, I'm like the scaredy cat guy, but he has a lot of interesting depth. Oh my god, yeah. Like he could have just been like a cringy vlogger, like outside of wanting to record one video for he's not even like a YouTube guy basically. Like he was basically just kind of doing it to like, hey, I bet you won't do this, and he was doing a thing. So I'm really glad. I'm really glad they didn't go with like the YouTuber aspect. That would have been really, really cringy. All right, here we have Miyazu. So yeah, this is Atsuda's sister, and this is another one of those characters of you don't really know what you're kind of getting into before you really meet her. And what's funny is like she is the kind of stereotypical, very nervous, shy Japanese schoolgirl, but also with that thing of she's very concerned about her friends and she's not like going to like not talk about it. She's very forward with you because you're actually meeting all these people for the first time in the beginning of the game. You're not friends with them beforehand. So even though there was that intro to that option to walk to school with them, it's one of those interesting things of like these are just total strangers to you. You're not like jumped into it like Nocturne where it's like, hey, this is my friend from school, here's my teacher from school. They're like, dude, I don't know any of you, and it makes sense, and the story treats it as such. It's nice that the story is not just assuming, of course we all know Miyazu. I was like, no, we do not. We don't know we don't know anybody. These people. So I have to show you guys this made me like scream when I was reviewing it. When I loaded this up and I saw this map, I absolutely screamed of like, oh my god, yes, they did it. I was like, they could have done menus, they could have done maybe an actual 3D hub overworld thing like Persona, but the fact that they actually went with the low poly, the game of life, blue pegs, green pegs, and everything, it is so good to see. And the fact that it's not like something you see for 5 minutes and you never touch again, like the fact that they just did it of like, hey, you know what? It's like, yeah, it's like, how do you say, it's classic. It's low poly pegs, and it's so classic, it's so fitting, it's so nice. Talking to all the people around actually is great. Like, again, the flavor text in this game, so good. Coogan, I'm doing okay. I shouldn't be streaming because I'm existing. I need to sleep. My back hurts, my throat hurts, but I'm here for you because this game's not out for everybody yet, so we've got to kill time. We've got to talk, and this is the best way I could. I mean, I could be playing this game more, but that wouldn't be very fair when all of you who aren't able to play it just want to get some answers, want to learn a little bit more, and of course not get spoiled. But yes, oh my gosh, I literally screamed when I saw this. I was like, this is amazing. I love this. Actually, what I might do, I recorded myself starting up the game from the menu of the Switch. I might post that tomorrow. I don't know if I would actually do it on YouTube, but it'll at least be on Twitter and Facebook. But I recorded myself starting the game just because it was legitimately just, it gave me chills. It was so surreal. And even now, after so many weeks and over 50 hours, it's just not stopped at all. How was the pizza? It was very cold. I was starved. I ate like half of it as soon as that stream was done and just passed out. It was good. It was at least up to Little Caesars quality. It could have been better if it was hot, I'm sure, but rushing back to the stream and talking with Casey and all of you guys was so worth it. So here we go. This is actually the title screen in the game. I was actually surprised that they had like, oh, sorry, not the title screen. This is the title appearance. When you're playing the game and you're running into the opening sequence, they straight up just have this where it says Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I was like, wow, that's like kind of interesting. Like, I don't know if they'd actually done that before. Like, of you're playing the game, wait a little bit longer, and then there's just the title drop. So here's just another shot of like once you're into the world. Again, this is like half an hour or less into the beginning of it, and just that like little fact of like it just gives you that taste of like looking at how large and intimidating everything is. Like the skybox and the vista of just this desert is just so interesting. Benjamin Snow, oh my gosh, man, we got everybody here tonight. Also, hi all like 98 of you. I don't know how we got to almost 100, but this is really nice. Ben Snow, man, it's so great to see you here after so long. Let's see, how good is the music? I cannot say enough good things about the music. Everybody, please do not listen to the music of this game without playing it. It's like the most soundtrack spoiler warning of my entire life. It's so good. Jump into it as blind as you can humanly possibly be. But yeah, so we're jumping into the world. Spoilers, you become the Nahabino at some point, and one of the first things you have to do is fight a demon. And what's really interesting, though, is... Oh, wow, okay, we're just jumping right into that one. Here's another introduction thing. Here's Miss Lady Nua. Here's our Mananagal, which I was very glad to see. was not like a super long time coming demon, which was super nice. Also, don't worry, I'm not doing like a beat by beat of like the entire game. This is mostly just kind of showing off little bits of progress, vistas, stuff like that. Basically, another thing I wanted to kind of show off here, I was always really surprised. Like, I think when you're looking at it in screenshots, the HUD looks like it takes up a lot of space. And even though you can turn off the minimap, I never found myself doing so. Because, like, well, at least playing it on my TV, I could see maybe on, like, handheld it getting a little bit cramped. But this game just definitely always, like, looked really, really good. And I liked having that, like, little update of, like, I always knew my health. I always knew the situation with everyone in terms of, like, just looking over at a glance. And one of the funny things about that is, along with it is, it kind of gives me that feeling of like, hey, I know what I'm running into before doing a battle. There's not that thing of, oh god, open a menu. Who do I have again? Okay, stuff like that. And also going back into our like guide and stuff. So throughout the entirety of the game, you can have demons guide you around. It's always very, very much of like, okay, it's either this demon or this demon or this demon or this one. It's not a choose your own. In the beginning, you get Amanazaku, who I probably ruined saying the name again, but you are introduced to this blue fairy, and she kind of basically follows you around. There's actually like a really funny thing of like she's following you around not because you want her to, but just because like she's kind of just doing it, and they never were like. They explain why Aogami's a little hesitant about her following you around, but it is very funny. I'm just like, he's like, you never know what she could be planning. I'm like, I don't know like how intimidating this small blue fairy could be, but you know, I appreciate your concern, sir. Oh my gosh, yeah. You could like immediately while playing this game, you can be like, I see why this took like 5 years. And if you actually look at the minimap here, you can really kind of see. You can really kind of see like it's large. It looks large, but if like you're looking at your like runnable areas, it's still linear. It still makes sense, and like it's not like again, it's not like Xenoblade. It's not like Breath of the Wild, but it is large. Like that building you see over there. Like you go to the Dia building. That's the Tokyo Dia building. Like that's one of the first places you go early on. Okay, and again, yeah, holy crap, he can jump. Sorry, I wanted to close the door because I don't know what was happening in the kitchen, but I think everyone finally got hungry. Sean. Did I miss somebody named Sean that I should have freaked out about in chat? If I missed somebody in chat I should be freaking out about, please let me know, everybody. But yes, so other things. Oh yes, in the essences. I think I took a couple of pictures of that. So essences are going to be a big thing to use in the game, or hopefully should if you want to make the game easier for yourself. Any predictions for how this is going to sell? Yes! This is going to sell really, really well. The pre-order numbers have been very, very healthy, digitally and physically. Not even kind of counting the craziness in the West with the collector's edition. But yeah, I would say before the end of the month, you will get an email or an announcement from Atlas Japan being like, we've shipped 1 million copies or something. Like this is going to be the best-selling SMT game probably. Like I will be very, very surprised if not the best in the series. So yes, the essences, these are things that you can run around, and actually if you're looking at the minimap, this little guy right here is a container. Like these are basically like your treasure chests. You run around and you pop them and they give you some goodies. And those can have essences, items, stuff you might need. Bishop Wrestler, thank you so much for the super chat. I can't wait for waifu demons. Let me tell you, waifus and husbandos all over this game. Cannot say enough. So here we go, another just kind of great shot I wanted to show you, but just like going back to the scale, like obviously your demons are never going to look this big when you're in battle with them, but oh man, this game always does such a great job of making like oh fuck moments. Of just like running across a demon and being like, hey, you're level 15, bro, you gotta fight that thing. You'd be like, I know lightning, I don't know what you think I can do with this. Ooh, do I think this is better art direction than Digital Devil Saga? I might. I really like the art direction in this game. Like, this game has just personality for, like, ages. I love Digital Devil Saga, but That's real. I don't know. That's really, really tough. Luis Rodriguez, Midwestern boys like myself, you will have to wait until 2 a.m., unfortunately. The game is not playable in America until it is midnight on the West Coast. So you can thank all those West Coast, I was going to say West Coast, Best Coast, but it's not the best coast. If it was the best coast, we wouldn't have to wait, but that's okay. I mean, it's only a couple hours away. Like, right now, we're 4 hours away from this being out for everybody digitally, and then everyone physically is just going to cry because either yours is shipping late, you have to wait for the mailman, or you got it early, or you're looking at people in Australia, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? So this is like a bit of a fun thing I wanted to take a screenshot of and showing you how barely I was able to beat this fight. Also, shout out to Mermaid. Mermaid is extremely clutch and is an amazing, amazing demon. I really, really... Like, honestly, there are so many times of like, oh, I love this demon, I'll never give them up, and then I have to give them up because I have to fuse something more powerful, and it makes me really, really sad. But this game does these really, really great moments when you're fighting these big, epic boss fights, and when you get that final blow in, the screen slows down, and it goes black and white like this, and it just gives you that really satisfying moment, like... Whenever you beat a boss in Kingdom Hearts, and if anyone's been playing Smash Brothers, you'll know this very well, where it slows down and it gives you that like it's almost like your moment of calm. It's really, really nice. So again, just kind of going off and showing off like just crazy locations that you do actually get to run around and do things for in the entire game, and it's just so funny of what a great job like this world does with like even if you have no recollection of like what the Tokyo Tower is and stuff like that, it just makes for such an interesting looking location, and it's not like adherent of being realistic or like actual Japan. Like you're seeing a lot of like trees, like it's again there's a lot of desert, but there are other locations as well. There are other things of weather you will see. Let's see here. So going back to our lady with introductions, this is Sophia. So Sophia is the basically. Yeah, I was gonna make it up, but she has an introduction right here. She's the ruler and the overseer of the world of shadows. So the world of shadows is basically like the Cathedral of Shadows, except with this lady letting you organ pipe it up, doing your fusions, and you can learn your essences there, and you can even learn miracles. So if you're not aware, essences, like I talked before, were something that you collect and can let you learn other demons, either affinities or their skills, and put that on your character. And so that's a really, really nice thing. And again, do not sleep on using essences. Much like fusions, it can help save your butt. And another thing is that you can learn here are miracles. Miracles are basically like your skill unlocks, not like a skill tree. They're all unlocked through fighting these big red eyeball things called absents. And when you unlock basically when you find an absence, it's a giant red like eyeball thing, and when you fight a demon, it's normally like I would say it's kind of like a mini boss or a harder than you would experience nearby boss encounter with normal demons, maybe in a higher amount of them or crazier levels, something like that. And if you defeat those at the absinthe, then you will it's kind of like, I was trying to describe this in the previews, because it sounds more complicated than it is, but think of the absinthe giant eyeball thingies as a tower in a Ubisoft game. You go to this tower, you defeat the enemies that are there, and when you defeat the enemies that's there, they'll send enemies at you. Just immediately run to the base and destroy that, because if you just try and kill all the enemies it sends to you, you're just basically farming at that point. But if you defeat the enemies and you defeat the absinthe, you unlock new miracles that can be learned in the world of shadows, but along with that, along with learning the new skills, it'll also show you more of the map, and it'll show you where all the chests are, show you where all the glory is. And glory is this secondary currency that can be gained through either crystals, Mimen, or basically eating these apples of Eden, and you need a certain amount of glory to unlock miracles. Miracles help your character either become stronger, learn new skills, use Magatama differently, different conversation tactics, using items with your demons. So again, kind of like a skill tree, but not unlocked in a traditional way with a skill tree. So, besides that, also, yeah, I might as well talk about the Mimen. So, the Mimen are something that I think we should be finding out soon. Yeah, welcome to the game over screen. You'll see this a lot if you're me. So, use this image as you will. Nudity warning, nudity warning, I guess, beforehand. So, the thing about the Memon is they are basically your, like, Korok seeds for a Breath of the Wild comparison, even though, again, this game is not Breath of the Wild. There are 200 of them in the entire game, and you get to just collect them all and kind of... They are spread out throughout the whole world, and they're your reason to explore. Like, how do you get to them? How do you find them? Because each one you find out of the 200 gives you a certain amount of glory. And it's really, really nice incentive to not only look for more, but each one of them have something interesting to say. Maybe it might be about the world you live in. Maybe it might be about what happened or where you're at specifically in that location. So it's really, really nice to kind of just get more extra lore and stuff like that. So the absences are like the domain demons. Yeah, it is kind of like that, but just in the open world. So they're not in like things off to the side. It's normally either blocking your path or something that you're going to want to do to, if not become more powerful, but unlock more miracles that will make you a little bit better. Rev X says, who voices the protagonist? That is Casey. If you would like to look at the channel... I actually had almost an hour and a half conversation with the voice of the protagonist from SMT5, and Casey could not have been more of a delight. At some point, we will actually get Casey on for an actual episode of the podcast, but yes, if you would like an introduction to who the voice of this handsome gentleman is to the right, you can check out the live stream yesterday. Now with timestamps, and do not forget, there is a giveaway, so if you go and comment on that video saying you want SMT5 with the Steelbook, by tomorrow, I guess, but whenever I wake up, I'll pick a DM. I'll pick a winner and just make sure you say I want the Steelbook and you include your Twitter @ so I can @ you. Oh, there was a reason I wanted to include this. So one of the things I wanted to do here is I was really, really pleased that there are actually times where you can split up with Aogami. Obviously, it's usually for the story, but I think it would have been really, really silly to just stick you as the Nahabito the entire time, because it is important to remember that you are not both of these characters. You are the protagonist. Aogami is his own person, and he's obviously learning a lot through you and working with you. You both have a mutual beneficiary relationship, but it's one of those things that I think does a really good job of reminding you, hey, these are two separate individuals, and it's nice to split them up and kind of give that extra context. And also just look at those eyes. Oh my gosh! By the way, Aogami, what a great I mean, obviously I like everybody in this game, but Aogami really stands out. Aogami does a lot of good, Damon Mills does a great job portraying this character, and just really, really kills him. And is a great job of, he's basically just the navigator, he's literally your Siri. He's the Burrows of this game. But he adds so much personality just through existing in the world and kind of being your surrogate for not being able to really talk. Here's our man. Prime Minister Koshimizu, played by the one and only Sean. Oh my gosh. So, Koshimizu you probably won't get to for the first 10 hours of the game. He's definitely he's one of the characters you find and are introduced to pretty late. Well, not pretty late, but late compared to everyone else. The game shows you a large amount of the cast within the first hour. And Koshimizu you find out much later, but he is so good. What an interesting character. I cannot say anything about him for story spoiler reasons, but if people do not like this character, I will be expecting a very long explanation, because, oh my gosh, so good. Here we have another character I haven't really introduced too much, but this is another one of, this is a character I was very uncertain of in the beginning, and if you remember my preview, I said Tao is probably my least favorite. And that was just due to the way of, we saw so little of her. What we saw, she was very generic. She's just, I'm the schoolgirl, I'm the idol, and I'm you're literally a slice of white bread. Thankfully, I was correct, and that did change. My opinion of her did change, and all I can say is, if you like Tao early on in the beginning, great news, she gets way better after the beginning. So, yes, thankfully Tao did not kind of stay like that. So here's another example of not really a main character, but one I did find interesting, did get a shout-out. So Sahori is a character that you will get introduced to probably after the beginning of the game, but has an interesting kind of tie to the overall cast. And what's funny is this is actually, like, she's part of a probably relatively small storyline overall, but it has a lot of interesting ripple effects with a very, very prolific effect on it overall. You just don't kind of realize it at the time. So it's kind of nice that they have characters on there of, like, kind of big and small, like, levels. Whereas, like, we have the little sister type for earlier, is like we have like other characters kind of not only flesh out the worlds but also help progress the story and change it in realistic feeling ways, because you don't want it to just immediately feel like, I gotta punch God in the face, we better hurry, guys. Here's another shot of us back in Tokyo, looking out, thinking into the world. Again, I just want to say, I'm so glad you're not only in Dot the entire time. It's nice that you go back. It's not like you're going back and forth all the time. You're not doing social links. You're not doing your normal daily life things. The world of Tokyo is very much a means to getting to Dot, but it is nice that it brings you back. It's nice that they let you kind of get a grip of, like, hey, this is your home. Like, it'd be weird if it was one of those things of, well, I was there for 5 seconds and I never cared about it again. Now, again, here's our actual introduction to Shimizu, Japan's Prime Minister and the director of Bethel, Japan. Bethel, Japan is basically, well, Bethel in general is the angels' forces and stuff. So the demons have basically taken over everything. Bethel is the legion of all the angels and all of their demons who they're working with and different things like that. So basically, God on one side, Lucifer on the other. Is it even the apocalypse? It definitely is, but I can't tell you anything about it. Now, this shot I wanted to include because this was another nerdy thing of when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, they have this, like, seeing this in 3D, even coming after Nocturne HD was such a cool thing of like, oh my god, we're like still using this, and like it was so cool to, not only is this like your kind of, part of like, is basically a save point, but yeah, the Yamala drum coming back was just so fun for me. Like, it's not like it's a big thing for the story, but like it is one of those things that was just such a nice like little callback of, like, you could tell like the dev team who made this did such a great job of creating something new, but just doing such a great job of like great little callbacks. Like, if you've never played any of the SMT games, it's just gonna look like a little thing for you, but like just little touches like that are so nice. And also, just looking at chat, I'm so glad you guys also enjoy the Yamala drum. So I'm glad I'm not the only one here. Another Yamala drum shot, because you gotta spin it. It does show him spinning it, actually, so it's one-up Nocturne on that. You've got to spin it like a Beyblade to get anywhere. So here's another fun little action shot. This is inside of one of the buildings. Yes, there are interiors. There's not a lot of interiors, but there are times you do go inside. And I just want to give like another like shout out of like this game just looking so cool, and just doing such a great job of really nailing the tone in every like place you go to, of like not really feeling scary, but always feeling like, yes, this is Tokyo, but it's not your Tokyo. Like, this is a very different kind of thing. And obviously I couldn't go this long. I had to include, it's our boy Jack Frost. This is not the first time you encountered Jack Frost, but this is one of those things of just like going back to some of the new demon designs and the revamped demon designs, the new Doi design for Jack Frost. Everybody looks so great. He's looking so good. He's hee-hoing. It's the boy. It's classic. Again, kind of talking about the voice acting. Really nice that they didn't kind of commit one way or the other. There are still demons who just talk like they always have. There are demons who might talk in English. There are some demons who might just talk in their own native tongue. It's nice that it's not just one way or the other. Rain says the director is one of the writers in Nocturne, meaning experts. Oh, yes, so from 5. I wasn't sure if we were talking about like the English director or something. So here's another action shot I wanted to show. One of the things while playing Persona 5 Royal I really loved were the new animations for battle with the Showtime attacks. Of like these unique, really fluidly animated attacks that just look so nice. And what I love about it is you as a character have a ton of unique, only to you, animations, and I'm not going to show pretty much, I don't think, any more of them off here. This is just like a normal healing one for you and your party. But I just wanted to point this out of just like, this is such a fun thing that they did of like just putting so much attention and so much care into the game and like showing your attacks, having so much personality. And then it's even better when, like, say you have a demon you really love, whether it be like Alice or King Frost or even like Mara, where these demons have special unique animations and unique attacks just for them. Like, only they can do it. Like, you cannot bring that special attack to anyone else. They are exclusive to that demon. It really, really is so satisfying to see those attacks happen. And I can kind of comment as well, Magatsui, it's definitely akin to like a final meter or like a limit meter, but because everyone's Magatsui attack is different, you're not really going to like be there. Like, you're not going to be saving them for one big final attack. There are Magatsui attacks you can do that are just, this does raw damage. But for me, the ones I found most interesting were the Magatsui skills were basically, the thing with Magatsui skills, I always saved them for the ones that are going to make my other attacks more powerful. That would buff and like supercharge the party or make criticals happen. Like, that's like one of the first ones you get is like make all attacks hit critical, magic and physical, and that's such an important thing to like kind of learn that press turn system and learn how to use all of those attacks. Here's another one of the demons that fight alongside you with Bethel. This one, just a really, really cool shot, showing off some more quality demons. Again, if you thought I was going to show Jack Frost and I wasn't going to show the King, all hail before the King. That's an actual shot of like how big he is as well, so it's really, really funny of like, I remember like seeing this, I think like in a screenshot somewhere, and just being like, wow, that's a really interesting low camera angle shot, and then being like, no, he's just that big. He's just a big honking dump truck butt of a demon. Green Flame says, so only some demons have the Magatsui skills, so Magatsui can be done by demons and Nahabino. Anyone can do them. There are actually ways for you to do multiple different Magatsui skills. That's one of the miracles that you can unlock later. But, what was I going to say? The unique attacks that are only for them are not actually used with Magatsui. That is just MP. And again, as we are listening to Apocalypse, felt appropriate to show our boy. He's an interesting use of not only using this demon. I really, really love him just because I'm a huge fan of his design, and I think he's just a cutie patootie. What else I love about him, he's actually the, hey, do you want to unlock all the collectible Mii-Men in this area? Give me a butt ton of money. So if you ever find him in the open world, and he's not like a normal demon, like if he's a talkable demon, find him right away, and he'll make your collectible life hunt way easier. And again, we have to go through all the meme demons. So here's Mothman, just with the PogChamp mouth, living it up. And also, the demon dialogue is really, really good. Like, obviously, the flavor text of the world is nice and stuff for it, but they have such interesting ways of adding so much personality to all the demons without it feeling like, okay, you're just trying to be like the Unga Bunga guy. So, here's another character that you probably have seen in trailers. I probably have actually seen this exact shot in trailers, and that's Fionn McCumhill. So, he's introduced pretty early into the story, and is one of the funny things I thought about him is just fighting him as a boss is, fighting him just in general. It's like was one of those interesting things for me of like, I appreciated and actually had that moment of anticipation of like, oh my god, dude, you better join my party. I bet you won't show Mara. I'm not showing Mara because I didn't take the screenshots and put them on the show, but I also didn't show Mara because then that would be like late game spoilers, because Mara, of course, has to be a late game demon. Hey Spencer, hope you are having a great day. First time buying and playing SMT, so my first question, any advice? Go slow, do everything, learn all the systems, and have fun. And do not fear death, use death as a motivator. That's my advice for SMT5. It's your first time. Going back to another new demon, probably my favorite new demon, honestly, in terms of like newly designed ones. I've not messed around with Artemis. I might change with Artemis, but So yes, Idun here. So this is another North mythological demon. If you like characters who do great group heals, immediately find her and immediately bring her into your party, because she is, like, her special skill is just the clutchest of the clutch. Like, she is so good and has some of the most, like, awesome animations. Like, again, like, basically, the cuter a character looks, or, like, the more badass a character looks, their unique attacks are going to be equally awesome. So again, showing off where we can buy our little map to unlock the meme in here, kind of showing you more of the, like, locales and everything for it. When I saw this, like, screenshot, I was like, this needs no context. This is just a great great image. Do with this as you will. How many Memen are there? Yes, there are 200 Memen. So enjoy collecting. Showing off some more demons here. Really, really nice. So again, like, this is not like a new demon. This is literally just the same asset from Persona 5 just thrown into Unreal Engine, but again, kind of like one of those fun things of, like, it's cool just to see them existing in this world. Like, it's fun. It's great just to kind of, like, jump into everything and, like, see how everything looks. Also, man, I gotta be honest, that's a great looking gun texture. And his gloves look really good. Like, I don't know what shaders they are doing on his gloves here, but his gun, I thought, looked so good. That is true. This is the "do you have some gum in class" face, if I've ever seen it. Ben with the most truth of truths. Here we have a pair that I'm very excited to hear what people think. You'll see them pop up throughout the story in interesting ways, and yeah, man, oh man, this game has some fun stuff, guys. This game has some fun stuff ahead of you. I'm very excited. Nua as well has a lot of interesting twists and turns behind. I don't know if that means we're, like, reaching the end. Oh, that is the end. Okay. Here, let me go back to OBS. Here, we'll just we'll actually do this. We'll just look at this face and have any questions or whatever for me, guys. So, question time. I'm going to start pulling them up from the ones I'd asked online, but this is going to be our final segment. Resident Unleashed, it's not out in the US yet. We have to wait another... Oh my gosh. It's 10:30 for me now, so this has to be... I'm thinking way too long for this. 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours until it's actually out in the West everywhere. Europe and Australia obviously still have it. Alright, so, enough looking at creepy girls. We've got our questions pulled up, so it's the AMA time. You've all waited long enough. I don't know how I made it an hour going through my screenshots. I didn't actually think I took too many. So let's look at... Alrighty. Alright, so we are pulling our questions. We're first going from Twitter. So our first question from Twitter is by Shalomas, I probably butchered your name. How customizable is the essence system? Does it work like Strange Journey essences where you need to use it during fusion? No, it is separate from fusion. So there is fusing and there is essence fusion. They are two totally separate things. And is there demon evolution? I actually don't think there is. I was trying to level up normally to see if my pixie would level up to a high pixie. And I wonder if they actually very specifically note when you're able to fuse that high pixie is a special fusion. I wonder if that's the game's way of saying, hey, you can't get this. So I actually don't think there is demon fusion in this game. I've not actually... I tried in the beginning, but I kind of took that as a sign of saying, no, there's probably not. And I don't think there's any that are needing of it. But hey, it could be something I'm surprised about. But no. In my 50 hours, I have not seen any demon evolution. It is 1:32 in Brazil, but you need to wait till 4 a.m. That is rough. That is absolutely rough. Next question by I Am Laser Cow, otherwise known as Andrew, says, from what you've played, would you recommend a physical or magical build? So for me, I normally go physical for all of my first runs because I'm a basic white boy. But something about magic really called to me in this game. I don't know if it was just because of how nice it looked or that it was actually a way to get the protagonist to say words. But, yeah, elemental attacks really spoke out to me. My teams are all very heavy into magic, even the demons I fuse. I have very few physical attackers, so like when I get to boss fights where all I can do is physical attacks, I go, oh god, okay, time to bust out the big guns. So it's definitely not made the game harder for me, but I would say having an evenly split build of equal strength and equal magic, I think is going to make the game harder for you. It definitely for me was one of those things of I wanted to lean a lot harder into one side over the other. I want to see, man, dude. Wolf in the chat being like, I want to see what a luck build is like. I also understand that. I also do not want to be the person to find that out for the first one. Chicken Nugget, are there traditional dungeons? Yes, there are. There's probably not as many as you would think, but that was never a personal problem for me. The reduction in traditional dungeons actually made me enjoy the ones that are there much more, if that makes any sense. Archeon brings up a good point. So, I've heard mixed things on the plot. Yes, I've heard definitely things as well of like some people like thinking it's a little slow. There's not a lot really there. For me, this is like the perfect amount of plot that I've really gotten for a SMT game, especially one with voice acting and 3D models. I really, really like how everything is doled out. I think it does a great job of providing context not only for the world, but for all the characters. It does a great job of really leaving everything ambiguous and morally kind of, like, leaving a lot of questions that you want to either get the answer for or find out yourself. Like, even for me, I found myself almost kind of second-guessing a lot of the times of, like, did I make the right choice? Is this the route I really want to kind of go with? And kind of weighing my options, not only for what it would mean for me, but for the world, and then also for these characters that I do have a relationship with, because these are people you spend a lot of time with, not directly in the story, but you're all working as a part of a team throughout a large amount of the story. Uh-oh. Minor potential spoiler question. I'm going to read this first. Oh, okay, actually, I just answered it, so hopefully that wasn't a spoiler. hopefully that answered your question and then everything like that. How did I just lose my questions? There we go. ACAB says, otherwise known as the blind guy, I heard they changed the way buffs and debuffs works. Is that true? So basically, buffs and debuffs, when you use the skill, they will last for 3 turns and they can stack 3 times. So, if that's different from what you were expecting, just go in knowing that if you use a buff, it'll last 3 turns, you can stack it 3 times, that's how buffs and debuffs work. You can also unbuff and do other things like that. Oh, super chat by Ty. Ty, thank you so much. Ty says, the anticipation is killing me. My Switch is just killing here. Ready to open SMT. Have $5. Ty, you are the reason, and obviously the other 115 of you here, you all are the reason I'm doing this live stream. I could be playing this game right now. I'm sure there are people in Australia who could be playing this game right now, but I just wanted to do something to stack a little. I just wanted to do something that would at least kind of make the time go by a little bit. Your boy Titus says, I thought you can only do 2. I might be wrong. It could be 2 or 3. This is like 10 o'clock at night for me. It might just be 2, but I know it does stack. Could be 2 or 3, but it is stackable. Ben the Persona fan says, otherwise known as EV525, I'm wondering how the audio mixing with the voices are. Is SMT5's audio mixing better than Striker's? You know what? I will say that. This game's audio mixing is actually fantastic. I've had no notice of being like, wow, this was a bad take, or like, this is really hard to hear. Like, this game, audio-wise, blows Strikers out of the water, which really makes me sad, because as you all know, I love Persona 5 Strikers. Thank you, Kuro from the Midnight Channel. Looking to dipping in here. A little looky-loo. Dimmy Crow over here, not with the Jack Bros related question, I appreciate it. So first off, it's 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, correct. Also, I just want to know if there's a sort of filter on the demon's voice like an SMT4. Yeah, there's like a filter for pretty much all the demons, especially the ones that talk, like in battles or like for cutscenes and stuff. I'm gonna try and make this not sound like the SpongeBob voice. So it'd be like, I talk like this with a warbly effect, but you can still hear my voice. I'm sure I'm gonna regret that. Nick Roth says, I was hoping it would be 10 or 9 p.m. Pacific, but that makes sense, yeah. So, unfortunately, did not live up to the rules of other games. The Paragon says, as someone who's completely new to SMT with only experiencing P5 and P3, is it worth to get into? I've seen it's pretty good, but I have no knowledge of that universe. I will say this, if you have a Switch, you want an RPG, you don't want to play Pokemon, and you really want to play something that's similar by those developers, but definitely going to play with your expectations and push you in interesting new directions, I cannot recommend SMT5 enough. Spencer is a demon confirmed, thank God. I don't know what demon I would be, or like what type of demon I would be, but that is how it is. Megidumon says, how do you obtain skills? Essences, there we go. Fusions, and leveling up, obviously. No costumes by Ren. Ren Steele says no costumes like 4, no Magatamas either. It is no equipment, no nothing. It is just you are using your essences, or leveling up, or depressing, or getting them through skill acquisition. Pokemon just makes me depressed now, says Yuri. Well, I'm morbidly curious for... What am I trying to do? I am morbidly curious for Arceus, but I have zero interest in anything else. But if you're excited for Diamond and Pearl, I really loved those games back on DS, so hopefully the people who do want to play that are going to enjoy it. Me, personally, I'm definitely taking an RPG break after 5, just because it's been a lot. And someone's got to get back to playing Metroid and Fatal Frame and Guardians of the Galaxy. Gabby says, are there still surprises despite all they have shown us? Have you tried hard mode, and how is it? So hard mode, I've dipped my toe in for a little bit. Basically, hard mode, in my opinion, has just made the bosses have higher health and do way more damage to you. I don't see any difference, really, in terms of XP or weaknesses and stuff like that. I would definitely say if you're a first-timer, or in this, especially if this is like your first SMT, and you just kind of want to have a normal experience, start on normal. If it's too hard, go to easy. I guarantee you're not going to find a normal too easy. I might have said that in reverse, but it's late at night. But you know what I mean. Start on normal. If it's too hard, go to casual, because casual is still going to give you a challenge. And then there's the babier mode there for safety and everything. That is true, Jag. I still have not played Nier Replicant, and I'm a bad person for having not done that yet. Also, yes, this game has tons of surprises. Please do not spoil this game, everybody. Please do not find scary people on Twitter who are going to be showing stuff from the story, because there's so many things that you can be spoiled on in this game. And it really, really sucks that not everyone's going to be getting it, especially if you're waiting for a physical copy and maybe you live in Canada. Wolf, I definitely agree. I miss equipment, but only for the fact that 4 and Apocalypse had such great costumes. But I get why they did it. They at least gave us the coolest costume we've ever seen with Nahabino. More time zone related questions. How big is the selection of demons? I know it's over 200. I would say probably close to like 220 or like 230, but I don't have the final count, and I also don't really want to kind of find out until I know I've done everything really. But it is very, very large. It's comparable to Persona 5 Royal, definitely, which is a good testament because that game has a ton of models. Let's see here. I think that is it for Twitter questions. Let's go to YouTube questions, and then... Actually, let's do Facebook really quick, because Facebook did not actually have that many questions. Because we were also doing this very last minute. If I can find it. I believe in you, Spencer. Wowzers, wowzers, bowsers, bowsers. Did not think I had that many things here. Of course, the Facebook group is completely all over the place because everyone's freaking out about the game. Any post-game content? I would say the post-game content in this game is just getting the 4 endings, getting basically everything like that, and in terms of traditional post-game content, there is New Game Plus, obviously, and so you'll have all those different kind of options at your hand. So if you count that as New Game Plus, there you go. I'm seeing... There we go. I was like, I know it's here somewhere. I post too much is my problem. So we've talked about how many endings, not going to exact about exact conditions, and there's also New Game Plus, so that was covered. And... Okay, is there more than normal, law, chaos, and neutral? No, in terms of the basic 3 endings, but there is something that you would consider not like a secret ending, but there is a and then some. But you do have to make there are certain requirements that you do need to look out for. And again, goes back to, that's why I just say, just try to do everything, or as much as you can. And that was another build question, so I think we just have YouTube questions, and then we can get out of here. Well, asking also chat questions, but I've way gone past my try to keep this to an hour live stream minimum, so... Oh my god, YouTube had 28 questions. Good lord. You all are way too awesome. Mimlat says, is Demon Negotiation improved, similar to Raito 2, or is it still random? It is an interesting new take with it. It still has that like moment of randomness, and I will say, though, it does a good job of leaning into it slowly and giving you, the longer you go into the game, giving you more options to make Demon Negotiation less of a chore and make it make more sense and be less punishing. Yeah, no, there will be no ending spoilers, no nothing spoilers, so don't worry. Yeah, so can't talk about anything more specific than that, but just know there is a fourth. It's not just law, neutral, chaos. JT Hayes says, what are known technical problems? We've talked about that. I think it runs great. Compared to Nocturne, how challenging is normal mode? I would say normal mode in this... I actually think normal mode in 5 is either as hard or maybe a little harder than Nocturne, personally. But again, you can always change it to make it easier if you need, so that's nice. Beyond SP says, can you walk through a little of how the Essence system works? So yeah, I kind of talked about that. Sean says, what is an estimate on how long to get all the endings? Considering you can do New Game Plus, it's not going to take as long as your first ending, obviously. I would say probably safe to assume 80 hours to get all the endings, but I myself have not done that yet. So that's just kind of guesstimating. Maybe a stupid question, but does the game feature alignment systems closer to 3 or 4? I would say probably 4 more than anything, but like it still is also kind of doing its own thing. The alignment questions are more ambiguous. Ambiguous is not a word, my gosh. More ambiguous than probably some might expect, but there are probably moments where you would think it's an alignment question, but it might not be. There are no questions. There are no costumes, sadly. How does the game run day 1 on Switch? Like I said, I think it runs great. If you're expecting 60, you'll be disappointed. If you're expecting a tolerable 30, it does a great job at running at 30. Best waifu of the game definitely has to be Idun for me. Will the game help my erectile dysfunction? Yes. If this game does not make you erect, contact your doctor. Broken Zealot, flexing, of course, with the Australian copy. I would have done the same. Do you recommend going for SMT? What build do you recommend? I would say just honestly, whatever floats your boat. This game is the most flexible of like demons and your own character build so much. Are there cool magic skills for Nahabino? There are tons, kind of like we were showing earlier with the different attacks and everything. There are so many interesting, unique attacks that only Nahabino can do. Let us see here. I think we're pretty much getting close to the end. Have you tried out the Charge Concentrate stack with the Impaler Animus of the other 2 skills to power up your enemies? In 4, you could stack Charge and Dark Energy. I have not really, but that's just kind of more of how I've been doing a magic-focused build for it. How were the characters? The problem with earlier SMT games, except Apocalypse were weirdly enough. I actually like the cast of this probably more than any other SMT game, like out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in Apocalypse. 5 definitely stands at the highest, but obviously I'm coming off of playing it. It's the freshest in my eyes. Maybe reflecting on it more, that might change, but I love the cast, especially early on. They do a really good job of... feeling like good companions in that world and like complementing everything with it. Can you tell me and describe the feeling of the OST of previous entries? Without getting into spoilers, very unique, very moody, not what you would expect. It's a very... It has a lot of range. Like, they had a lot of freedom with this, and they just do some crazy stuff, and they bust out some crazy tracks and crazy instrumentals. So, this is, again, a soundtrack I cannot recommend enough. There is New Game Plus, so we've got that. Can you comment as to what alignment in this game has spoken to you the most? That stuff, I actually viewed it less as alignments and kind of more what fate I wanted to become of me, my friends, and the world. If that makes sense. Just because kind of going back to how ambiguous, oh my gosh, I cannot say that. Ambiguous, my god. That's the word of the night now, guys. Yeah, so, like, it was me worrying more about the outcome of, like, myself, my friends, and the world, as opposed to, I'm a law boy, I'm a chaos boy, let's get my hoys on. So, a little deeper than 4, thankfully. Let's see here... Oh, here we go. Is the Rose theme from the first 2 trailers relevant? I almost want to I think that is kind of interesting because if you notice from even the second trailer, like where it shows Tao and the protagonist getting basically killed by demons. I would like to compare that a little bit more later, but I think that might kind of get more into either scrapped content or just change directions, because obviously those first early trailers are they're just concepts. They're concept trailers. They're not there was probably a loose idea of the story, but those trailers tell us really nothing. Ambiguous. Thank you so much, you boy Titus. I'm living up to my Midwest Kansas settings at this point. How many slots are there to save in the game? I think it was 16. I can actually look. I have my Switch right next to me. I think it's 16. Let's find out. There are 20. There are 20 slave slots. 20 save slots. So you have plenty of place to move around with. Let's see. Is this game going to be a good challenge on normal? Normal is definitely satisfying. This is a challenging normal. It is a satisfying normal if you enjoy that kind of challenge without going full on into hard mode. Oh my gosh. I think we did it. I think we at least made it past all the questions that were asked. Handheld or docked? If you have a Switch Lite, you will not be missing out because you won't know what you're missing out on. I played on handheld. I played on TV. I love TV way more. I've tested handheld a lot. The performance is really, really solid on both. But after seeing it on my 4K OLED TV, even though it's basically up-resing everything, it just looks... Well, it's not up-resing. It's just, scaling everything for the TV. It looks really, really, really good. Does hard change XP or Maka, Louis? No, not that I had noticed, but I also haven't put too much time into it. I just kind of did the first kind of opening hour and so with hard just to really get an idea. So, that is kind of it. I've talked for an hour and almost 20 minutes, so if you guys have any last-minute questions I did not cover, again, no spoilers, at me right now, let me know. This is your chance. This is the end. We're 3 hours and 10 minutes away from a worldwide digital launch. Sorry, physical people. My collector's edition hopefully will be here tomorrow. Don't jinx me. Zeron, coming in at the end, man. Hello. I hope you're liking the game. Jazzy Jefferson said, how did you feel about the Demon Quest? I loved the subquest. Whether the fetch quest ones or the actual story subquest ones, they are all great. They add so much lore. They're so awesome. They're just fun. They're like junk food. The quests are just like world lore junk food for me. I could eat them all night. Do you know if there will ever be a super hard DLC? No. There's no plans for any other DLC planned. Like, all of the game is on that game. Like, everything at launch releasing, that's SMT5. There's nothing else in the pipeline unless something crazy happens. Do the characters in 5 get more than a paragraph to their name? Yes. It's not all going to come at once, but it definitely gives a lot more than you would probably think going into this based on other games. So I think they do a great job with giving the characters time to really feel like real people and real characters, not just, I'm the good guy. Are there optional boss battles? I've said this many times before, but I cannot stress this enough. There are probably more optional boss fights in this game than any other SMT game. I might be wrong, I might have forgotten something, but the way that they sprinkle overpowered bosses throughout all of the game, it's like there's just always something to go back and clean up, and it's really, really nice when you're like, oh yeah, that fucking big rock guy who's level 50, let's fuck him up. Like, that's a great moment, like, whether it be for a quest or just to, like, take down a powerful demon. It's really, really good. Does Aminazaku play a pivotal role? Yes and no. She's not like she's more important than Pixie in Nocturne, but like she's not like part of the cast. Like she's very much like that. She's that lady you keep running into, pretty much. How long did it take to peak? Like I said, answered that before, but around like the 50 to 60 hours is going to be pretty normal, I think, for a lot of people. Anything under 50, very sus. Alright, everybody. Oh, we got one last question. Are demons actually following you around in the overworld, or is it just Pixie? Aminazaku and Pixie. Yes, there are multiple demons that do follow you around. It's not a lot. It's like single digits. Not a lot. It is very much like a plain thing in the story, but there are multiple demons that do follow you around. Alright. Luis, I'm going to say this one last time, also for everybody, because I got to end this stream because I'm dying. If you like this stream, please consider subscribing. There will be more SMT content, of course. Unboxings, talkings, reviews, podcasts, everything like that. Some guy, I can't answer that. Can't tell you about marrying my wife. But yes, the game, as of right now, is unlocking 3 p.m. Eastern. Oh my god. 3 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Oh my god. 3 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Central, midnight West Coast, and then it's out digitally everywhere. So, just gotta wait another 3 hours and 6 minutes from now, digital people in the West, America West, because I know Europe and Australia, you already got it. Then you should be all good to go. Everyone, also, please let me know what you think of the game. Spoiler-free. Feel free to either post on the Facebook group, Discord, or Twitter. Feel free to @SMT Network so I can retweet you getting the game. And, yeah, what time Hawaii? Sophia, it's midnight California. That's all that matters. Listen, that's all that matters. Once it's midnight in California, it's midnight everywhere. Alright, everybody. I blew this stream over by like an hour, and my wife is definitely going to actually kill me this time, so probably no long live streams for a while. But I hope this tided you over. If you liked it, let me know. I hope no one got spoiled by anything. I hope you learned some stuff. Once again, also, thank you, Atlas, for supplying me with your review code and letting me kind of dive as deep into this as I did. Also, let's look at our poll. Let's end our poll here. 12% of the people watching this already have the game. 47% went physical, 40 digital. It was actually closer. I was expecting it to be more of like a 60-40 split, but that was pretty interesting. 476 votes. That was a good amount, actually. 10 p.m. Hawaii. You got it, Sophia. You're killing in Hawaii time. I want to see someone like on like a beach in Hawaii, like at 6 a.m. tomorrow playing SMT5. That would be like a really like weird and funny thing to do. The delayed Amazon life. Yeah, sorry, Wolf. I hope it. And also, if you're someone who has a collector's edition and is feeling a little burned out that you might not be getting at launch day, just remember, there are so many more people who are not able to get that collector's edition. So you'll have that to look a little bit cooler. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better. Thank you all, 100 plus of you, for being here for so long and putting up with me. Hopefully you are all subscribed or at least enjoying this. I would wonder if like someone would like be hate watching. Like, God, this guy sucks. I better watch him. Let's see how wrong he is. And also, yeah, last little thing I want to do, a little PSA. If you don't have a copy pre-ordered yet and you live near a Walmart in America, the game will be $49 at launch. That's like the cheapest you will find it anywhere before it goes on sale, which will probably not be for a while. It's not like it's going to go on sale for Black Friday. God, would it go on sale? No, there was no way it'd go on sale for Black Friday. It's way too soon. So if you want to play at launch day for $49, Walmart's going to be your best option. But yeah, thank you all for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being awesome and beautiful and handsome. And SMT5, it's here. Asterix, almost. Have a good night. I've got to stop live streaming. I'm hungry again. I'm really thirsty. My throat's very dry. But I love hanging out with all of you. You guys make hanging out such a blast. So thank you all so much. Anyone know if it's launching midnight? Jamie-o! It's midnight West Coast time. Just a reminder, everybody. Midnight West Coast time. That's the digital time. Enjoy the game, everybody. I love you all. Take care. Have fun. I love you. Goodbye. Cold pizza's gone. Goodbye, everybody.